Planet Express has been hired for a controversial mission to tow a dark matter fuel tanker through the solar system on a route taking them dangerously close to a penguin reserve on Pluto. When Leela refuses, and in fact joins the protesters, Bender is promoted to the role of captain. The job immediately goes to his head, alienating Fry. Distraught by losing his best friend, Bender takes to drink. Well, lack of drink. And this new sobriety harms his piloting skills, causing the tanker to collide with an iceberg on Pluto and drowning the preserve with dark matter. In the face of this disaster, public hearings soon follow, and the Planet Express crew are sentenced to community service cleaning up the spill they caused. But while their police escort is distracted, Bender dons a tuxedo and blends in with the penguins, making his escape. Worried, Fry and Leela decide to search for the missing Bender, Leela on foot and Fry in the ship. Meanwhile, an impact on the head causes Bender to reboot and take on more penguin-like behaviors. The following day, the local environmental activists discover a horrifying fact. Exposure to such massive amounts of dark matter has greatly accelerated the penguins' reproductive speed, and within weeks, their population will outstrip their food supply and they will all starve. In order to save them, penguin hunting season is declared. Leela is reluctant, but with no other choice, she agrees to take part. But her first shot ends up hitting Bender in the head and rebooting him again, this time back into his normal personality. When the rest of the hunters arrive, Bender leads the penguins in violent defense, brutally tearing the humans apart. But soon, he loses control of the penguins and they begin to attack him and Leela. It's just then that Fry arrives in the ship to save them. As they fly off to return to Earth, observing an orca whale gorging itself on the booming penguin population below, Leela reasons that nature will work itself out. Somehow. As for Bender, he's just happy to have his best friend back. Welcome to Space Podcast 3000, where the future is in the past. So what do we think of the Birdbot of Ice-Catraz?
The first half, it's weird. It has a funny first act, boring second act, and then the third act is great.
Yeah, I think that about sums it up from my end, too. Eden, what do you think?
Yeah, that's about it. Right.
Yeah, so let's break it down here. So, first of all, the title. So it's obviously a reference to Robert Stroud, the so-called Birdman of Alcatraz, which I don't know what that has to do with anything here. He was just a convicted murderer who studied ornithology while in prison, and he kept birds as pets. What does he have to do with this?
It has nothing to do with prison.
Bender does spend a brief moment in jail, and he ends up thinking he's a bird.
I guess, but, the episode itself was almost definitely inspired more by, the Exxon Valdez oil spill from 89, which at the time of this episode's production, I believe it was the largest oil spill to ever happen in American waters. It wasn't topped until, I think, 2010 or so. Which, actually, there was a bit of a reference to that in the episode where the ship, the tanker...
It's called the Juan Valdez.
Yeah.
Right off the bat, there's a great joke with him putting together his own Oreos.
Yeah, Fry's Styropack cookies really do bewilder me. Why pack the cookies and cream separately? Why have a whole bulky presser machine?
That's exactly the joke, because each individual part then stays fresh longer than he doesn't even eat the fuck.
Yeah, why does Fry put it all together just to then lick out the cream and toss away the cookies? Why not just open the cream and eat that?
I think isn't there a company that sells that, just Oreo cookie filling?
I don't know, but did you see the old post on Tumblr?
The Morios guy.
Yes, Morios.
Right, Morios.
That's a classic. Haven't seen that one in a while.
Now, I'm going to be crucified for this, but in my opinion, the cream is the worst part of the Oreo anyway. It's just way too sweet.
I think all of it's just okay.
Yeah, it's not the best cookie, but it is one of the few mass-produced packaged cookies that I can eat, since they're technically vegan and I'm lactose intolerant.
Right, which they were never designed to be vegan, but I think they realized that they were like one ingredient off from being vegan, so like, sure, why not? So they just eliminated that one ingredient. It's like, hey, Oreo cookies are vegan.
More people can eat them that way.
And then there's Bender with his hair gel. Like, are aerosols even still an issue? Because I know the hole in the ozone layer has improved, if not healed.
The hole in the ozone layer actually apparently completely sealed up recently.
Oh, that's good.
But no, aerosol cans aren't as much of an issue as they used to be. They still exist, but not in the same form. I believe most countries phased out use of chlorofluorocarbons entirely by, I think, like 2020. So they're just not really a thing at all anymore.
You hear the guy that developed leaded gasoline also developed the use of CFCs?
I can't say that surprises me too much.
And he regrets both of them, but he, like ecologists believe he was the single organism most responsible for damage to the planet.
Yikes.
And he later invented traction rods for hospitals, and he eventually was strangled by his own. So yeah, 3 inventions that ended up killing him.
Oh wow, that is not luck. That is bad luck.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to remember the name of the thing that Exxon added to their gasoline for a long time that was extremely harmful. What?
Techron?
Might have been?
Well, that was Chevron, but it might have been the same oil.
Well, it was one of those things where, like, they could have just used freaking ethanol and it would have been a lot less harmful. But, hey, you can't just patent generic ethanol. You gotta make a proprietary thing. And it ended up doing, like, huge damage to the environment and to people who were exposed to it.
Gotta make money!
Yeah.
Well, it's not like it's the only one we've got. Which, I mean, is a joke that works in Futurama, because, yeah, it is established that they do have colonies on many, many planets. You've
seen Cowboy Bebop, right?
Yeah, once.
Not yet.
The world building in that show, how, like, humanity's spread among the stars and Earth is just a freaking garbage dump.
And then there's, WALL-E, where everyone's gone out to space and it's just trash.
WALL-E is a good movie.
It is a good movie.
I feel like the environmental part's a little heavy-handed, but the romance aspect is fun.
Sometimes a message warrants being heavy-handed, especially if it's for kids,
True.
Speaking of messages, I love the final act in this, which is almost like something out of a South Park thing, but it's a bit less cynical. It's done more like as the actual joke, but the idea of we have to kill them or they'll die, which is like, this has the exact same premise of that episode of South Park where they go hunting, but from the opposite side. It's like, these are hunters that are deluding themselves into thinking they're doing good, whereas these are eco-activists deluding themselves into thinking they're doing bad. It's weird, because they end up doing the exact same thing, but the premise is also sound. Like, the idea that overpopulation will cause an issue with these animals, that is actually true. Like, if there are too many animals, they fight over resources, and they all end up suffering. So the idea of keeping the population in check, forcibly if necessary, is actually something that ecologists think about.
Well, in some environments with animals, yes, that can be true, but we should make absolutely sure to clarify that no, this does not apply to human beings. Human overpopulation has never been a problem. We have the resources we need to feed every single freaking human being on this planet, and in fact an even larger population than we currently have. It's an issue of distribution.
Oh, absolutely. This was never a thing about humans. This is always about the idea that humans need to control the animal populations, and the ironic idea that they have to kill them or they'll die, which, I mean, is presented as a paradox, But yeah, in some cases that's true. It's just like when they allow forest fires to burn because it helps open up pine cones and it clears out the old the biomatter that needs to be reduced. This is something that's like, ironically, it does, like, having to destroy stuff helps it regrow.
Yeah, without controlled forest fires once in a while, you do end up more likely to get, like, massive wildfires down the line.
Yeah.
But, like, in this case, I just wanted to point that out about humans because there are too many people who take the overpopulation thing and apply it in a very social Darwinist, Malthusian manner.
Yeah, which screw those people.
Yeah, so anyway, this episode is, I like to call it Act 2 of the tragic Waterfall family saga. Because in Act 1, we had Free Waterfall Jr., hippie and vegetarian activist, protesting poplars and eventually being eaten by Lur. And now we have, presumably his father, Free Waterfall Sr., environmental activist, who... bit of a moron, isn't he?
Yeah.
Not the brightest.
Yeah, like, first we have the human peace ring tactic, ignoring that spaceships can move in 3 dimensions. Rubbing permafrost into himself for warmth. What? Sticking his hands inside his butt also for warmth.
Which, I mean, that last one is a little bit sound, but it keeps your hands warm, but you don't necessarily have to use your butt. You could use your armpits or your crotch, but moving forward.
And then at the end, just generally being able to jump right from environmentalist to recreational hunter at the drop of a hat. He and the others were pretty freaking eager to start doing that, weren't they?
Yeah.
Pent up frustrations.
Maybe penguin is tasty.
So what do y'all think of Bender's ship captain routine?
I mean, I don't think he was as bad as Fry was acting like it was.
No, it's just the fact that Fry wanted to be captain.
Yeah, to an extent there was definitely some bitterness there, but also Bender was being a bit egotistical.
That's
Bender.
Absolutely.
It's Bender, but like even for Bender it might have gone a bit far, you know? That said, very entertaining to watch.
Using a ping pong cable as the captain's table. Complete with the ping pong paddle still on there.
There are some really good jokes in this episode. Like, I love the punchline of Bender talking to the hyper chicken lawyer, and it turns out the lawyer's the one behind bars.
Which was a joke that was already done in The Simpsons.
Yeah, although in this case, he's apparently awaiting trial for incompetence. When did incompetence become a criminal offense, and how do you enforce that? Like, at what degree does incompetence become criminal? Like, what's your threshold there?
That's what malpractice is.
I guess, but like, how do you judge incompetence as a crime?
You build up your you build up your history and just how many past mistakes they've made. That is just evidence that they don't know what the hell they're doing. There you go.
Yeah, okay, fair, but like, at what point do you call it? Like, what's the threshold to reach where it becomes criminal?
True.
12.
12 mistakes?
I don't know, these are just things that I think of when that happens.
This is the line that they draw in the episode between eco-activism and eco-terrorism. Like, obviously there's people that want to do good, but then there's, like, we need to forcibly do good. So it's like, there's a line that needs to be crossed there. Ironic thing about this episode is actually kind of boring until the killing starts.
Yeah, a little bit. As you said, the second act is a bit slow.
You just kind of have Bender swimming around and acting like a penguin and encountering the other cute penguins and like, okay, this is...
It's cute, but it's not
really
entertaining.
Funny.
Yeah, Bender hitting his head and resetting into penguin mode. Why does he even have a penguin mode? Why would that be programmed into him? Like, who put that there and for what reason?
For a Bender unit, too. I mean, why... I could understand that for other robots that have to, like, interact, if they are specifically for interaction with the species, but a Bender unit is a Bender.
Yeah, what's the point?
Maybe it's a default robot programming.
That just raises further questions.
Just how to assimilate into other populations, if ever lost.
It just seems like a waste of effort for minimal benefit.
Yeah, because he doesn't really do anything with it other than like kind of liking the penguins, which he treats the penguins better than he treats the other humans that he interacts with. I don't think he ever tries to rob them.
Yeah, it feels like it was all done just to justify Bender teaching the penguins how to be aggressive and fight to defend themselves at the end of the episode, but like they could have had him do that without this. Like they could have just had him like say, I'm going to teach them how to defend themselves, and then just do that without, the whole section.
Yeah, the whole reprogram, or maybe like the penguin like brings him alcohol or something, and he's just like, "Hey, you guys are all right. Here, let me help you out." Because like they end up triggering their fight or flight response, and unfortunately, penguins are flightless birds. So
let's just stand here and do nothing and hope they go away. So there's one line that bugs me where Leela says the temperature is 20 degrees below absolute zero. That is physically impossible.
Well, yeah, that's the joke.
Yeah, well, it's just like, okay, to keep the physics explanation to simple here, heat is a form of energy, and the level of energy, like, exuded by something is what determines heat. Absolute zero means there is no energy present whatsoever. At absolute zero, literally nothing can even move, ever. And that is straight up the lowest temperature possible under any conceivable circumstance. That's why it's absolute zero. So, like, 20 degrees below absolute zero? God.
You're reminding me of the argument they had in that episode of Daria, where they're arguing about the lyrics to one of their songs. And he's like, and the temperature drops below sub-zero. He's like, you can't drop below sub-zero. Sub-zero is a... Sub-zero is a grade. Once it's below zero, it can't drop below sub-zero. It's like, no, but this is even colder. It's like, well, yeah, no, but you can't drop below sub-zero. No, once you factor in wind chill.
Question, TZ. How would you react if I told you I've never seen Daria? Because I've never seen Daria.
I'd watch it. It's a good show.
That's what I've heard. I just never bothered, I guess.
I don't know where you could watch it. I don't think it's on Netflix. I had to buy it on DVD.
Yeah, I've heard that they replaced a lot of the background music for the DVD version for licensing reasons.
They did. Obviously, it was licensing reasons, but they also said, they have like a disclaimer, is like, we took a lot of care to choose songs that were appropriate for the mood, and we think that you probably won't even notice it unless you're looking for it. There is one joke that kind of fails because they are like they're waiting in traffic, and it's just kind of panning to everybody, and it's just like a slow pan on their faces, and then it's just playing this background song, and then Trent says, "This is like that REM video, except you can't read anybody's mind." But like in the original, it was playing "Everybody Hurts." So it really does kind of ruin the joke there, but for the most part, in the rest of the series, it works fine. But we're not talking about Daria right now. Yeah. We're talking about Futurama.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly better than Beavis and Butthead's DVD release, where they removed the music video segments, and like, that was the whole point of the show.
Sort of. I mean, part of what Beavis and Butthead makes Beavis and Butthead hold up today is the music video stuff, because a lot of the music videos in that, they were contemporary for the time. So now it's like the only way to see these really weird fucking obscure videos.
Well, unfortunately not if you're watching the show on DVD. But God, I just noticed we've been talking about other unrelated stuff for a while. There really isn't a whole lot to say about this episode.
Yeah, I mean, especially coming off of Luck of the Friars, this is kind of a weaker episode. I mean, it's funny enough, but yeah, might not make my top 10 at the end of the season.
Yeah, probably not. At the very least, farewell to Free Waterfall Sr., murdered by penguins.
Just as he would have wanted.
They said it. They called themselves Penguins Unlimited, and well, they're unlimited. Thank you for listening to Space Podcast 3000. Your three voices of the future are Nova Altman, Doug Hancox, and Eden Valerie. Theme music is Voxel Revolution by Kevin MacLeod. You can support the show and listen to new episodes a full week early at patreon.com/SpacePod3K. Follow us on Twitter at SpacePod3K. Be sure to join us next time as the Planet Express crew get trapped in a love triangle in Vendless Love.